Hello. In 2019, I dried out Fulmer to anti-foul her. In 2020, I put her on the hard in Dingle to work on her over the winter. Because of COVID-19, I was not allowed work on Fulmer over the winters of 2019 and 2020. That was okay, as the old and vulnerable needed protection, and these rules protected them. I never saw Dingle as quiet as it was in the lockdowns of 19 and 20. I had started fitting some deck hardware before lockdown in 20, but I had to hold off and wait to finish until the spring of 21. This time away from the boat gave me a chance to study the sections, navigation, and other things that were needed to prepare the boat for the Golden Globe race in 2022. I am blessed to have my boat in Dingle. It's a safe harbour on the edge of some of the best cruising grounds in the world. But more important is the support I have received from the people from all over the area of West Kerry. It has blown me away. Towards the end of May 2021, I was allowed work on the boat again. I removed the rudder, went over it with a fine-tooth comb. All was good. Before I replaced it, I fitted a Darglow Engineering feathering prop that Michael Murphy from Kendy's Bar in Goat Street, Dingle sponsored. Fair play to Michael, thank you. From the waterline down, the gel coat had been replaced with epoxy. I only had time to clean, epoxy fill and fair one side before launching. After launching, I finished fitting the deck hardware to bring the ropes from the mast back to the cockpit. I also fitted an AIS and an Ecomax transponder to Golden Globe race rules. Both of these have alarms that go off inside the boat when there is a ship close by. I also fitted the walker's logs that my brother Dan of Lawless Flowers got me. I needed 2 more self-tailing winches for sheets from the spinnaker and jibs. An Irish company called Irish Power and Process heard about this and they offered to buy them for me. People are so kind. So thank you, Noel Heary and Irish Power and Process. Inside the boat, I fitted a Nikon SSB radio that Bicycle Solutions Ireland gave me. It's working mighty, thanks be to goodness. Just needs a waterproof box and the wires tidied up now and it's ready to go. All the work I'm doing to the boat is to prepare it for the Golden Globe race. Since I bought the boat, sailed down from Amsterdam, sailed around Ushant and down to the Sables de Lan. This has given me a great feeling and knowledge of the boat. It has surpassed my expectation. I picked it for safety. It has small portholes, small cockpit, a safe boat, double ender. Had a lot going for a decent beam, so it could carry a fair cargo because we have to bring all our food and everything we need for the race on the boat. So it'll be about an extra minimum of 2 tons extra, including water and everything. What impressed me about the boat is the speed. It's faster than I expected. You couldn't take a boat for a test drive in bad weather before you bought it. So then sailing down to Les Sables de Lan was a great experience actually. I was arrived down for the prize given, which was Easter 2019. And then sailing home. I had good weather conditions to test the boat. And when I got home, I had a list of jobs to do. Nothing major at that stage. I needed more time to work out everything, but I had a list to keep me busy. And I started working on that. So over the 19 summer, I did jobs to the boat and I sailed it when possible up and down the west coast of Ireland with my family and myself. So I decided then in 2020 that I would do my qualifying 2,000 miles. I picked to sail to the Azores and back without stopping, which was a fantastic trip. I had light headwinds all the way down. I had up to 6 and 7 at a time, but only fronts passing through. No big swell, like it was just short blows. And it was a good learning curve again about the boat. And when I got down to the Azores, I intended to go around one of the islands. I had been down before with my father and my wife, so I would have fancied to go around by Pico and St. George and Horta. So anyway, when I got there, I saw there was a depression forming in the Atlantic and heading towards Ireland. and I decided I'd go for it to get the front. If you're going to sail the Golden Globe race, you need to practice in weather. And if I had realised that it would develop into a worse storm than I saw on the Windy TUI, I probably wouldn't have gone for it. But I'm delighted now I went for it, because it was good storm, good test, 55 knots, and it was all good. All good test. The boat was great, so everything went well, which is a big bonus for me. And it's great to have the confidence and experience of sailing through that storm. So then when I came home, it was late in the year, September. I had another bigger list of jobs to do. The winters of 19 and 20, I couldn't work on the boat. The winter of 20, it was lifted out and put up onto the hard here in Dingle. So I couldn't get as much done as I wanted. Now the boat was in good condition. I didn't have to do everything, but I managed to get a good bit done. And then I hit off far north, not knowing how far I'd get. So after a few days going north, the wind was light, headwinds, and I decided to head for the Westman Islands. I had been there before. I bought a fishing boat in Akureyri in the north of Iceland 25 more years ago, and it was owned by a man in the Westman Islands, so we stopped in the Westman Islands on the way home in the boat. So I decided to head back there, and I headed for the Westman Islands. 12 o'clock at night, midnight, 315 miles from Westman Islands, Westman Air in Iceland. Not great weather for sleeping because it's so bright, but it's lovely. Fantastic. Nice breeze. First 5 or 6. Reach. That's how I'll give a walk through. This worked very well. The compass inside here, I have one above, and I thought it'd be a bit more deviation, but there isn't. And that organizer worked well. I will change this perspex for some acrylic before the Golden Globe race. The cooker, the heads, toilet inside, spare bank of batteries in there. Well, not a spare bank, a second bank that I can use. So I have the bed made for later on. I'll start kipping as soon as I can. Actually going to have a cup of tea first and then start kipping. I had the firelight, and I have 3 sails inside in that locker. I'll leave it closed now, well, I can open it with this tack. I have 3 sails and other stuff inside there. Now this is looking aft from the bow. You can hear the boom brake, that's the noise of the squeaking. We're on a reach. Nice breeze, maybe 20 knots. We're tipping along nicely. There's 2 more lockers inside there, we're closing them. And that is storage in under these things. So I have a few fire extinguishers on board. I have 4 actually in a fire blanket. And that. The main reason I sailed to Iceland was to figure out how to prepare myself and the boat for sailing in the Golden Globe race. Because it's well north, it would help me with going to the Southern Ocean, but mainly only in temperatures. But one thing I discovered is that my full weather gear was pretty terrible. I got wet twice going on deck. I had 3 days of 4, 6, 7, 8 against me. And when you went on deck, it was like as if there was 10 people with buckets of water throwing them at you. So when I came back, I decided to look into the best foul weather gear, and I asked a couple of friends who had done serious long passages, and they recommended the Mullion 500. So I looked it up and I found Sienna. I approached them and I met Tony, and I found him really helpful. So I went up to the factory in Donegal, a Mullion 500. Now it's a 1-piece. I went for a 1-piece rather than a 2-piece. Just easier to keep dry, but it's an insulated suit, and that's fantastic. You could sleep in it. It's not a dry suit. This is just a good suit. So he recommended Ursuit. It's a Finnish made, and I'm going to get one of them. It's a dry suit, a light dry suit that you wear in under your oilskins or whatever, you could sleep in it then. It's light, it's Gore-Tex, it dries from the inside out. I'm also going to get a mullion life jacket on with all the bells and whistles. So that's my foul weather gear. I'm quite happy that I have really good foul weather gear, and you need really good foul weather gear for the Southern Ocean. I found clothes really important. Now, I had really good quality socks that I got in a little that had suction pads underneath them that would give you good grip. Actually, a lot of time in fine weather I go on deck in my bare feet. I like to be grounded even on land. I like to feel the ground under me and good grip, but any bit of bad weather I use slip-on Wellington boots that I cut the top off that I can just slip into them. And then my wife bought me an ordinary pair of blue welly boots. They're great. For my clothes, I found the Dubarry clothes the best. I have one here, and this is a jacket I wear a good bit, and they have anti-rash clothes, and you can't beat quality, so I'm going to get more of them. Dubarry clothes, they're good, and you need to be comfortable in your skin with good clothes, you know, with comfortable and healthy, breathable clothes. You need something too that's easy dry, but hopefully I won't have to wash them often. When I had to go on deck after getting wet twice, I stripped down to my boxers and got into the old oilskins I had and went on deck, and they worked fine. And you know, you wouldn't be too long on deck, and when you came back in, you towel yourself off and you felt like as if you had to swim. I had to go on the bow one time. When I furled my jib in a gale, pressure of the wind actually meant that it didn't go all the way in, and it was sticking out. It folded up so tight that it wasn't furling all the way, and I left it for a few hours. I just sheeted it in, and I had the staysail and the reefed main on, and I had to go on the deck, and I suppose I was a quarter of an hour. I had to go up, open the rope for the furler and wind it up, put 3 turns and tie it again. And when I came back, you were glad to get into the cabin and towel yourself off, because it was the coldest winter up there in 83 years, I think, or 88 years, I'm not sure anyway. And no, it was fine. You were active and that, like, but in the Southern Ocean you can't be carrying on like that. So I'm happy that I have really good with the mullion and with the CN gear and with the dry suit that I'm going to get off the Finnish crowd, the Ur suit, that I will have the best gear. The next video I make about preparing the boat for the Golden Globe race will have more information on the batteries and the solar panels and the hydro generator. I have an ocean power hydro generator. Also fitting new bilge pumps. I have fitted 2 extra ones since I got the boat, but I'm fitting one onto the front of the engine as well, which I think will work very well if needed. Hopefully I won't need it, but be prepared is the thing. Then there is my electrical stuff like the ham radio. I got a second-hand one, a Kenwood, but it didn't work. The tuner box wasn't working properly, so I'll have to get a new ham radio receiver. The SSB is working well, but it just has to have the wires tidied up and a waterproof box made around it. And I have to fit the alarm for the AIS that's on its way from France, so I'll go through all that in time. Okay, lovely talking to you. Please subscribe and share the videos if you like them. Bye.